Yeah.
You don't wake up knowing markets, kid. Everybody starts brand new. First you learn what moves, what waits, and what risk can really do. No racing clocks, no magic tricks, no get rich overnight. Just learning how to place a trade and sleep cozy and tight. No shortcuts, no loud claims, just rules you understand. Know what you're risking, know your why. Keep a steady hand. One trade at a time, that's how it's done. Slow is smooth and smooth is smart. You learn before you earn, my friend. That's how confidence starts. This ain't a sprint, it's a longer game. So pull up a chair and plan. Welcome to Options for Beginners with Dan.
Dan, how are you?
I'm good, and I'm Troy. I'm always better. I'm going to start playing that every time I hear that. It's a happy song for me. I'm going to start playing that like every hour.
I'm sure your wife would love that.
Oh, she would just say, she's like, "Get over."
I know.
It's a wonderful thing. Yeah, good to be here, everybody. And I thought today I want to focus on one thing, right? We're going to go. I think a lot of people, wouldn't you say, Troy, in the world of investing have heard the term the wheel, right? And we're going to show a picture of the wheel in a second. And then we're going to talk about the wheel today. And then the wheel is really made up of two strategies, and we'll get into that. And the investing public, and I think this is huge in the world of investing, these two strategies. But then we're going to talk about these two strategies over the next week is, can we do them maybe cheaper, a better yield? In the world of all options are much cheaper than stock. Is there a good alternative? And so the first one we're going to talk about today is this concept of cash secured put. You'll hear people say, I'll sell puts in the stocks I'd like to buy. And we can see in the chat if anybody has done cash secured puts. Very popular strategy. And this is kind of a bridge strategy, right? You say, what's a bridge strategy? I'm in stocks. I hear these weird things called options. This is my first foray into it. And they do something with their stock. Now, doesn't mean it could be a risky as can be strategy, but it's something they do in relation to this thing of stocks. And so we're going to talk about this, just one thing today, cash secured puts, and then, hey, this is small account for smaller people. And a small account, you'll find out you can't, as Jack Nicholson says, you can't handle the truth. You cannot do short puts in a cash secured puts. Cash secured just means I got enough money in the account to buy the stock, right? That's all it means. But you can't do a small account. I mean, when you think about something like Apple's $255, unless you know somebody, right? And I don't know who you know, you got to come up with 25 grand, like in a retirement account, 25 grand. So if you're selling a put for $1 or $2, I don't care. You're still putting up about 25 grand. So how can we get around that in a small account? So Troy, maybe if you want to bring up, as we say from Chicago, the Chicago Bear fans, the wheel, instead of the wheel, I will call it D-A, the wheel.
I love it.
So here's the wheel. This is one of the better pictures, at least I've seen. I don't know who to give credit for in this, but this is a good picture of it. And so the wheel, and I'll give a quick thing, and then I'll get Troy's thoughts on this. The wheel just gives you start out at the top, and you say, hey. And that hey comes from one of the great Cub announcers of all time. They still have a Northern Sicilian steakhouse, which is just phenomenal. Harry Carey Steakhouse in Chicago, the wheel, the Harry Carey, he would always say, because he would do the Cub games, hey, he would say, hey, constantly. But you start out with sell puts. You say, hey, you know what? I like this stock, Apple. And so, but I'm going to start out just selling out of the money puts in a stock that I like. And the word there, you said you're bringing in dollars for premium. We could call it cash flow. We could call it paying the bills, whatever you would want to call it, right? But there's risk here. We'll get into that. So selling puts for where that, some people may say, I'm just looking for cash flow. So they're selling puts and that's it, right? That's the initial thing. So then if you go to the right, I guess would be the right, it said if assigned. So if the short put, right, if the stock is 100 and you're selling a 95 put for $1, right? Every month you're collecting that $1 and you're thinking, this is stinking phenomenal, right? Sign me up. But you're saying, okay, what if it goes down, right? Selling a put, you want the stock to go up. You sell a 100 strike put for $1 if assigned. So how do you get assigned? If we go below the short strike 95, right? That's when, warning, Will Robinson, that's when the stars and everything go off. And if we close under 95 at expiration, Houston, we got a problem, right? You're going to have to put up, you're going to have to buy the stock, right? And so you say, at what price would I buy the stock? The strike. So if it's $100 and I sell the 95 put for $1, I'm obligating myself to buy the stock at 94. We say, Dan, if this isn't a stock I like, and I liked it at 100, I'm stinking doing cartwheels if it's at 94, right? Because that's like 5-6% cheaper than where it was, right? So people look at short puts, selling puts, as a mechanism to buy their favorite stocks at cheaper prices, right? And it's cash flow. So if you get assigned, now you have 100 shares of XYZ at 100. And because if you got assigned on a put, that means the stock had gone down. So if you're long the stock, after you get assigned, my 2 cents would be, you might wait a little bit till the stock, this is a good stock, you got it cheaper. I wouldn't sell a call right away. You wait a little bit, right? As the stock starts going up on a stock you like long-term, right? This isn't a swing trade. I'll sell an out of the money call. Or I'm just giving you a rough form. Maybe a 20 delta for $1. You say, well, what does that mean? A 20 delta to pick your short strike? It just means it's way out of the money. And when we sell a call out of the money, we're looking to have our cake and eat it too. Dan, how are you looking to have your cake and eat it too? I want to get appreciation on the stock going up, and I don't want the stock going through my short strike in the next, if I sell this out 14 days or whatever, 30 days. That's ideal, right? But we're happy, right? If the stock goes up enough and that call gets in the money, right? We'll let ourselves get assigned on the short call and take away the stock. You say, Dan, why would you do that? Because if we get assigned on the short stock on the call, we've made quite a bit of money. We've milked the cow. The cow is like, hey, you've milked me. You've gotten everything out of me. Leave me alone, right? And so we sold the put because the stock was down. The stock rallies all this amount, and we sold an out of the money call. We get assigned, takes away our short stock, and then we rinse and repeat when the stock backs down. Because like a good stock is kind of going up, a little bit down, up, some down, up, and it, overall you want it going up. So that's Troy, anything you want to add to my shenanigans here?
No, other than that, I mean, it's something that people ask about all the time. It's one of the more accessible ways to jump into options. And, But you can look at it, and if you're new to options, you're like, I'm just trying to learn puts and calls. What is all this about? It's pretty simple when you think about it. Like what he just described.
Yeah.
Really, when you break it down one at a time like that, it makes complete sense, Dan, I think.
Yeah. And all we're going to do today is, I mean, you couldn't, I've tried in the beginner stuff, we're trying to do one or two-legged animals, right? So far, the last couple of weeks, we've really focused on long call, but instead of a long call, the vertical debit spread and the different applications two-legged. Today, we're just going to go one leg, and then I'll turn it into a two-legged animal, and you'll see why. So, Troy, could you?
Let's. Do you want to share your screen, or do you want me to do it?
Well, you know what? We're right here. Go ahead, and I can yap more if you don't mind. Bring it up.
You want to do modeling?
Yeah, and I'll walk you through which ones I'm looking at. You're going to bring up Apple. So all we're going to look at today is Apple, folks. I thought that'd be an interesting one. It's when you think about in the SPX, Apple is like, top 3 or 4 popular stock. It had earnings last night, and
I was looking at a little silver straddle here. Let me go to Apple.
Oh yeah, that'd be people saying we want silver. Troy, that's more exciting than Apple. It is. So Apple came out with earnings were pretty good, but or whatever it only moved down $2, right? So we're going to take an example of this short put, talk about it, why we wouldn't do it, and then what's an alternative that someone in a small account can do. So Troy, just go to the Feb 13s. Feb 13s are going to be 14 days from expiration. You can sell a put 7 days out, 2 days out, 14. I'm just picking this one here. And so we're going to sell the 245 put. It's about a 20 delta, which is normally, how I might pick a short strike. So it's 20 delta just means there's only a 20% probability we'll finish under 245 in the next 14 days, right? Which is Feb 13. So pretty simple, everybody, right? Just selling a put, easy game to understand for a beginner. What's the put? About $1.65 or so, Troy, maybe a little bit more.
Yep, that's exactly right.
$1.65. So the game is, folks, we sell a put, very easy. Underneath the price, Apple's at 255. We're selling a 20 delta put, so there's only a 20% probability we'll finish under that strike in 14 days. You say, okay, those sound pretty good. I'm interested so far. And you just collect $165, right? And you can do this, let's say we did it 14 days. Every 14 days, we could do another one. We could stagger this, and we could sell it 14 days today, and next Friday, sell another 14-day one, maybe a little bit overlap, and just keep doing this and collecting the cash flow and feeling good about life, right?
Yep.
Now, and that's good. So, excuse me. The other thing is, if we're bringing in, let's say, around $1.70, whatever this $1.75 credit, it's saying, okay, if we go up, we're just collecting the check, right? This is like a Social Security check, right? I'm joking. I'm just using this as an analogy.
Yeah.
But if we go down, what happens to this short put? As the movie Transformer would say, we're transforming into something. If we close in 14 days, under 245, which is a low probability, but in this world, in this geopolitical thing, right? And as Troy says, Iran.
Right.
I'm joking. Yeah. From the O show in the morning today, we're obligating ourselves to buy Apple. If we close under 245 in 14 days, we're obligating ourselves to buy the stock at the strike price, 245, less the premium. Let's say the premium's $1.70. That would give us about $243.30. And you say, that's not horrible. I'm buying the stock, 5 to 6% cheaper than it is now, right? I like Apple long time. Everybody in the world will have an iPhone in the next 3 years. Why not? Right? All right. That's the good, right? Now, I hate to be detailed, folks. I hate to be specifics with you, but to collect that $1.70, how much do you have to put up? What's your broker going to require you to put
Oh,
up? The bad news. Yeah. They're going to say, you like this strategy? I'm so excited about you. Let me just tell you something. You're going to have to put up about $24,000 to get your $1.70. And you say, no way. And you hang up on the brokerage firm and they call you back. Say, I didn't mean to upset you. No, cash secured put means you have to have all that capital sitting in your account. Now it doesn't seem so good, right? So now you get your calculator out and say, okay, I make $174 divided by 25,000. Oh boy, 1%. I don't even know what that would be to divide that, but you get the idea. So in a small account, one of the more popular investing strategies in the world, right? It does not have a heart for beginners. So what do you do, folks? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Troy to add a leg there,
yes, sir.
right? And we're gonna put in, Troy, what is a decent cigar? Decent cigar cost.
Oh, let's say $9.
All right. So what we're going to do is for the cost of maybe 4 decent cigars, we're going to give this person who's going to sell this put an out, right? For about $40. Troy, go in and add to that, buy a Feb 13 230 strike put.
Yeah, and let me just say real quick, unless any cigar smokers are watching, I buy cheap cigars. That's probably $40 is a fine cigar. That's a great cigar.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Let me ask you, I don't mean to go on a distracted course here. In the world of cigars, I know nothing, but all I remember is like being at the Chicago Board of Trade in the building. They still have a cigar shop, which is legendary. And Troy and I
we've been there.
We were able to go in there. Now, I forget, when you think of cigars, you think of Cuban cigars. Can you still, if you wanted a Cuban cigar, is it available to people in the U.S. or are they still great? Are they?
Dan, this requires its own weekly show, really.
I'm sorry.
But I'll say this real and short. Basically, the idea is Cuban cigars are like, there's more of a nostalgia, like idea that like, oh, it's you can't get it, therefore it's the best. What happened is because of the embargo 40, 50 years ago, whatever, people started developing, Nicaragua, the Dominican Republic, they started developing, and I would argue that they are as good as Cubans now.
Oh my.
There's people who would fight me on that, but
wow.
that region picked up the pace because people in America wanted to smoke cigars. So they've gotten really good in quality all over now.
So is that when you go to a cigar shop like the one at the Board of Trade, are they selling those cigars, Nicaragua?
Yeah, they're Nicaragua, Dominican Republic's huge. Dominican Republic's maybe one of the biggest ones.
Are those still in the $8 to $9 or are those more?
Well, I went down there a couple of years ago, and I unfortunately did not pay $9 per stick. So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah,
so
you can get expensive ones or unexpensive ones.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right.
Back to regularly scheduled programming.
Yeah, folks, you may ask, does this have anything to do with cash secured puts? Not yet. We will try to bring it into the show.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But here's the thing. What we just did with the long put changes the scope, right? You say, Dan, what do you mean it changes the scope? For about 40, I've got a mid price of 41 cents, but what do we have there? A bid of what? On the 230 put.
I don't know. The mid is about 40 right now.
Okay, the mid is 40. Okay, that's up. Yeah. And that's what's nice with the modeling. It updates itself, right, Troy?
Yeah, we're updating.
You don't have to. Okay. So here's the question, folks. First, we'll do the big picture question in the world of, and then I'm going to answer some of because I know the thoughts in your mind, what you're thinking already, and I'm going to answer them. You say, how do I know this, Dan? I think I know them. All right. So number one is, do we want, Trader A says, I'm going to sell this put, 245 put at $1.70. All right. 20 delta put. Got it. $10 under the strike. Got it. And so I'll make $170 on $24,000. All right. So how many people would say, I'm going to be looking for $175 on 24,000? I'll take that door. Or B, all right, this is a 15 wide put credit spread in this example. I'm not saying that's the way I do all put credit spreads, but 15 wide. So your risk is 1,500. You're only bringing in about $130. The short put's $170. Your long put, I'm just taking about 40. So trader B says, I'll do this spread. My long put is only a 5 delta. So that means there's only a 5% probability we'll go near that, we'll close under that strike. But if the world starts ending, that put will become your best friend in the house, without a doubt. But the point is, the capital required on this trade would be 15 minus $1.70. So it'd be about $1,330. So I got that 13. Troy's got 1373 max loss. So question B, would you rather have 170 some dollars on 24,000, or would you rather have, instead of $175, would you rather get like $130 on 1,300? It's a no-brainer, right? You go from a yield of 1 or lower to 10. Agree, Troy? Did I miss anything here? But so that's at least a good solution. Buying a 5 or 7 delta put against the short put in the cash secured put. You might say, well, Dan, generally, how do you figure what to sell for the short put? I might look anywhere from a 10 to 20 delta. I like closer to 20, but it depends on the stock. And as far as duration, if you can get enough premium, it'd be great to do every 7 days. But, depending on the stock, you might go 14 days out or 21 days. But the bottom line is, this is some people will say to me, Troy, well, Dan, I've got the money in the account. In a way, with all love, right? I'm not totally agree with that, right? Because even though if you have the money, you're still committed. Why wouldn't you, even if you have the money, wouldn't you rather be committed to 1,300 versus 22,000? I don't know.
Well, and Dan, this is something that, real quick, is always interesting to me about this is, and you tell me, because you would know much better than I do, obviously, about this, but like, let's say you do have the money, and let's say I really do want to own the share. Like, I actually have enough money. I'm learning options, but I don't mind owning Apple. You could still sell the spread, take the profit on the long.
Troy, you know what you're doing? What is wonderful? See, Troy knows me. Because I get long-winded. He's transitioned me into what I wanted to cover next. And it's like, let's take 3 scenarios, right? So if we go up, everybody agrees you're making your money. But I want to keep it cheap, right? You say, well, Dan, if it goes down, let's say you're bullheaded, and you say, let your short put turn into stock. Scenario, I'll give you 3 scenarios. Scenario number 1, let it happen. Your long put won't be touched. Don't worry about your long put. You only paid, 4 cigars, right? It'll go out worthless. That's fine. But that one time a year when Iran and everything comes into play, and that puts trading at $3, you'll be like, that wasn't such a bad, that's like a hedge. Now, so if it goes down, let your short put get assigned. You buy the stock, but you've only put up 13 grand. Now we'll deal with so that's scenario number 1. Dan, I want the stock. At least I'm still, most of the time, you're only committing, in this case, 1,400 versus 24,000. That's dramatic, right? All right, that's scenario number 1. Anything on that, Troy? Anything you want to add to scenario number 1?
Nope, I think you got it.
Scenario number 2. Scenario number two would be probably the one I would do. Number 3 is something else you can do. Number two is we get near expiration, right? We get near expiration, and this is starting to get in the money a little bit, but we get near expiration. Even though it gets in the money, there's not going to be any extrinsic value. It's just going to be, we're getting near, and you don't want to be long the stock because it goes against your whole thriftiness, right? You're only willing to put up $1,300 for the credit spread, which is great, but now you're going to go back to 24,000. Well, scenario number two is what I would consider. In the US, I've checked this out, right? I've checked this out with the government laws. I'm joking here. Check this out with all the brokerage. I can close my short put near expiration. When it's in the money with a day or two to go and there's no extrinsic value, close it. Have a little bit of lemonade, come right back to the chair and buy some kind of long call as a stock substitute. I can buy a leap. I can buy an in the money call. That'll keep you on this wheel thing. But again, I'm promoting here the all options wheel. Why? Save you a ton of money.
Yep.
And potentially tremendously higher yield, right? So what could I do? I close out the short put. I immediately, and that means the stock has been dropping. I can go buy a leap. I can go buy a 80 delta call leap. I can go buy an 80 delta call stock surrogate 6 months out, 3 months out. I can buy whatever. I can buy a 60-day 50 delta call. The point is, I'm substituting expensive stock for much more inexpensive options that will mirror it in some way. I don't know. I might have missed stuff, or if I confused the thought. And then my third scenario, I'll give this third scenario, and the third scenario kind of goes along with it but the third scenario is, okay, that's confusing to me, closing the put, whatever. All right. Now, I would not do that, but I'm facing the fear, right? You ready? Let's face the fear together. Dan, what if I have a $6,000 account and I do this and I get confused, and here it comes, I get assigned on the short put, right? What will Thinkorswim or whatever brokerage firm do? Will they shoot me? Will Uncle Guido show up at the door, right? Will my house start shaking? What will happen, right? Okay, they call you or they send you one of those emails, right? And I say, I'm scared. I'm going to call them up. They'll say, Dan, you only have $6,000 in the account. Here'd be my answer. I know. Okay, you don't have enough to buy the stock. Put some more money in. All right, Dan's response, I don't have it. I don't have any. Okay, Dan, we're not going to shoot you. Vito will not be at the door. All we're going to do is, Dan, sell out the stock. Would you do that, Dan? Yeah. So sell out the stock. Okay. And my $6,000 account. And then what I'm going to do, replace it with a long call, right? That's it. So what am I doing? Can I do this in a $6,000 account? Yeah. Yeah. I'm just at each step of the way, I'm just saying, what was that song, Troy? Remember that song? I don't like Mondays. Do you remember that? I don't like Mondays. Wasn't there a song?
There's a couple different Monday songs. Yeah.
There's a couple, but there was one. I'm a little older. I think it was 70s, right? I don't like Mondays. It was catchy. If anybody gets it.
Well, the Bengals, I think, did a Manic Monday, just another Manic Monday. Yeah.
Yes. But if we had a song here, and Troy's got a lot of talent, maybe we can we can put I don't like stock. And we can put maybe some reggae to it or something. But for a small account, but it's not just a small account. People say, well, I have the money, right? No. I'm not doing it for that purpose. The main purpose is it's cheaper, it's better yield. The name of the game here is yield, right? All right. So that's the thing. Now, the last thing I'll just say this is, what do you do with the long call? Most cases, because it's only a 5 or 7 delta when we start, I'll let it expire worthless. It's part of the credit spread. But if we have a meltdown, nuclear war, the Cubs win the pennant, anything like that, the Bears win the Super Bowl, and this thing goes down, that little 40-cent put, you could sell it out for an awful lot of money, right? So this is just, like anything else. If you said, Dan, what's your biggest concern with people doing this? It's just practice. You're used to something, right? I was used to using, going from cartridge when we were in high school, listening to music to see, everything was a major change of technology. And I fought it every step of the way. But, this stuff you can do. The brokerage firms will not send Guido to your house if you have a $6,000 account. But, and again, I'm just saying, people will say, well, Dan, I've owned Apple since, Steve Jobs was 19 or whatever, right? If I sell it stock, no. But what about new stuff you're putting on? Are you telling me that if you like Apple and you've had it for a million years, for some new stuff, you wouldn't? Why wouldn't you mind being long Apple with a long option?
Do you want to show the long option on Apple real quick?
I was going to say.
Or do you want to do that next week?
I was only going to say because I just even the explanation, I wanted to kind of leave with one concept. And the title of this, I was going to put like when we tell, something like, can you, I don't know if can you do cash secured puts in a small account? Or would you sell, and I just, again, folks, I'm just starting this discussion. If you have any, give us your best shot, right? If you have concerns or dialogue on this, or your experience with this, with a brokerage or anything, if you throw them in, Troy, where would they send it to? Or how would they?
We have our own channel on Discord for Trading with Beginners with Dan. You could put this in there, ask any questions, and I'll definitely see those and we can address them.
I would encourage you, if you put questions on any show, but if you put questions on what we talked about today, Dan, I think you're full of baloney. Here's the reason. Dan, I think you're on to something. Or here's this, or whatever you want to say, I promise you, right? We'll cover maybe before the show on Monday. I mean, at the beginning of the show, we'll go through, I'll ask Troy, let's check, and we'll answer because these are good, good dialogue, but just another thought process. And it's just taking us from this traditional wheel strategy to the all options wheel, right? Am I saying it's perfect? You're used to this. Will it be as comfortable? But again, 10 to 15 times cheaper, 10 times better yield potential, right? And we can deal with, anyways. So that's the thought, to give us your feedback. And what I'm hoping to do Monday and Wednesday is cover. Now let's get to the second thing. Basically there's 2 strategies in the wheel. Sell a put and you end up with a covered right. Long stock, short. That's it. Those 2. So instead of the short put, we propose this put credit spread today. But instead of the covered right, we're going to talk about something called the long diagonal, another name, covered right. As my friend Brian Overby would call it, a fig leaf. Troy's creative. We'll come up with a name, the OO name of it. But, these are the last thing I want to say about strategies in the wheel. Are they swing trades? No. Are they spec trades? No. Are they generally range bound trades? No. Where would they fit in? I would call it your long portfolio, kind of retirement. There's stuff that these are stocks you like for the next couple of years, and you intentionally want to be long them, long deltas, long them intentionally, right? I mean, think about when I say intentionally, think about your long stock, folks, in your retirement account. What's your risk management when we have a 10% correction like April? And I'll tell you the risk management. You know what the risk management is when you have long stock in stocks you like in a retirement account? And this is the risk management from the all-stars at Panera Bread in Knoxville, right? I would say to them, what do you do? You know, how's your retirement? How's, what you doing on there? Oh, Dan, when we have big downturns, my risk management is I don't look at my statement. I said, that's probably pretty good. Just ignore it, right? You don't look at your
when in doubt, just don't open the letter.
Yeah, just don't open it. Say, honey, in April, the market's getting killed. We don't need any stress in the house. Do not open those brokerage statements. When the market's up and comes back, we'll open them all up and we'll have a nice laugh and we'll have a nice sushi dinner, whatever you have.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I love it.
Troy, anything you want to add? Final words of?
No, I'm excited next week to continue on with it because I know, again, like I said, this is something people are pretty passionate about. It's a good way to get into options, and particularly for those who don't have the account, you can still do this strategy, like Dan's saying, without $100,000 in your account, and so it's something useful to be able to learn from. So I'm excited about it, Dan. We'll continue next week, and I'm pumped to do it. So.
All right. Thanks, Troy. Thanks, everybody. Have a good weekend. Put your feedback in the where do they go for that, Troy?
The Discord channel. Just go in Option Mega, ask, and someone will point you in the right direction.
Yeah, and folks, if you'd like I love the modeling tool. I think it's great. The Options Omega also has a great back testing tool and automation. If you'd like to check that out, there's Troy's got some very good prices on that. Where would they go for that, Troy?
OptionMega.com.
Okay.
All
Good
right.
enough.
All right, guys. Have
Thanks,
a good weekend. We'll see you next week.